for joining us for the top metrics to scale your restoration business. My name is Rachel Stewart. I am the CEO and one of the founders of Xcelerate Restoration Software. A little bit about us at Xcelerate. We have collectively over 60 years combined restoration experience. A lot of that has been spent in top performing restoration companies and with a big focus on profitability. One thing that we absolutely understand is the challenge and the balance between field and getting the field documentation as well as the tools that management needs. And so that's been one of our big focuses at Xcelerate. So as we jump into this class about top metrics, I always like to start with a disclaimer. The first thing is that it's not one size fits all. What is a fantastic measurement and metric for one company may not be that beneficial for another. So let me give you an example. Close ratio. If you are a team that just kills it in marketing and sales, you have leads coming in all over the place, but you can't close the deal in the field, then that may be a metric that you really want to focus on. If your close ratio is 80%, maybe that's not a metric that's really going to push the needle. So make sure that you're picking metrics that really identify where the problems are in your company and focus on that. So the second thing is to update those metrics regularly. So metrics have a way of getting stale. What you focus on, you usually tend to improve, and then it's time to move it and change it to something else so that you're always staying on your A game and you're focused on the new challenges in your company. And I always like to say that management is like whack-a-mole, and you're always putting out the latest issue. And sometimes we think that someday everything will be running perfectly smoothly, but my experience is that's not always the case. And so you're constantly trying to update and improve your game. And number 3, track them and know them. You can't improve what you don't measure. And if you aren't measuring, how are you going to identify the opportunities? So make sure your metrics are being tracked, that you have a good way of being able to do that, that you have identified which ones are most important, and that your whole team and your whole company knows which way you're headed and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so all that fun stuff's out of the way, and the first thing that we're going to talk about is labor efficiency. This is one of my favorite metrics, and I used it a lot while I was managing a restoration company. Okay, so labor efficiency is tracked by calculating revenue divided by the labor costs. That includes any in-house and subcontractor labor. So if you bring in a team to do demo on a mold job because your guys are all busy, then you need to make sure that you're including your sub costs as well as any in-house labor. Okay, so for this example, let's say we have a job that just came in over $9,000. It was a decent sized water loss, and your labor costs with your subs included was just over $3,100. So all you're going to do is you're going to just take your revenue and you're going to divide that by your labor costs, and that's going to give you your labor efficiency. In this case, that's 2.83. So let's take that same revenue amount and let's just say, okay, in one scenario, your guys were a little bit slower, travel time was worse, and so the costs were $4,000. You're going to have a labor efficiency of 2.25. So your labor efficiency is going to drop. Or in an alternate scenario, one that we like, your guys were super efficient. They were able to get in and knock the job out really quick. And most of the expense was equipment was there for several days. So in that case, your labor cost dropped, and so your labor efficiency went up. Okay, so the magic question might be, well, what is a good labor efficiency? And I think that really depends upon what area of the country you are in, what your labor market looks like, and lots of different factors. But I will say that I always thought a good labor efficiency was in the high 4s and just tipping towards the 5. Now, if you get above 5, I just recognize that you start running into maybe some issues of you're just not staffed well enough, and guys are running on fumes because they're trying to do so much. and you start maybe losing some quality. Your guys start getting burned out. You might like be turning people quicker, and then maybe your quality of your text decreases. So I would be careful about trying to push it much over 5, but I'm not the most talented manager in the world either, so somebody out there might be able to do it. And when you do, I so want to hear all of your tricks. So, okay, so ways to improve your labor efficiency. You can either increase revenue, and right here I'll just put a plug in to go to Ben Jessuson's class here with and he's going to be talking about making sure that you're pricing effectively and in order to make profit, because that's always a good thing to stay in business. Or you can reduce your labor costs. And so that's where I really want to focus on today. You might be doing work or getting work from certain carriers or certain property managers where increasing your revenue and your pricing might create more complications. And so you really want to focus on your efficiency and reducing your labor costs. So we're going to focus on those things that you can control inside your own company to reduce your labor costs. So number 1, do you analyze your labor time? Do you know how it is split up? Like I said before, you can't improve what you don't measure. And so do you know what the breakout is between your travel time, site time, shop time, and how your techs are spending the time when they're on the clock? So if you're not doing this, I highly recommend that you start doing this. If you don't have a tool to do this, then please contact us at Xcelerate because we can help you out. So you should have something that can break out really easy for you to see what is going on with your travel. And then you can be able to make some decisions based on that, okay? We are spending a lot of time traveling to do monitors or to do checks. What can we do to make that more effective? Could we split teams up so that we're not in pairs of 2? I know that may create problems because those are also your guys who are going to respond to a loss, but maybe you can figure out how to rotate those people who would be the first responders in a situation. How much time is being spent on site? Is there ways that we could improve that? Is there a lack of training? And then also, what time is being spent in the shop? It's really important to keep your equipment nice and clean and ready to go, but are there more effective and efficient ways to do that? Okay, so second is scheduling and dispatch. Do you have a really powerful tool to schedule and dispatch your guys? And what does that look like on the administrative side, and what does that look on the field technicians? If you are spending a lot of your time trying to play Tetris with appointments and scheduling things out, then maybe there's a better way. And also, how easy is it for your field technicians to respond immediately to a loss? Okay, let's move forward. Efficient field documentation. How easy is it? How consistent is it? If you're only getting really great documentation when one particular technician is out in the field, then maybe there's something wrong with your system. And I always know that we're like, well, maybe there's something wrong with our tech. No, maybe there's something wrong with your system so that it is so easy that it can be consistent and that documentation is correct so that there's no billing issues. 1, getting a bill out the door, and 2, getting it approved. So if you're not finding a very easy way to do all of those things, maybe look at your technology tools. Okay, and then how do you use those tools to do ongoing training? Are you reviewing and using it to correct and elevate your teams? If you're not, then you're missing a great opportunity. And in daily huddles and weekly meetings, being able to go back and look at how your processes went and being able to kind of do an autopsy on a job and really be able to pull it up start to finish, look at all the notes, all of those kind of stuff, so you can continue to train your technicians that you're talking about this labor efficiency, that they know how they impact the profitability of the company and the success of the company. And all of those things are super valuable. And then obviously, how effective are they at actually doing the jobs their job in the field, because really that's what we want them to be doing, not spending a lot of time doing all of these other things, but doing the job in the field. And so those are the things that can really help improve your labor efficiency. Okay, next metric is your water whip time. So how long does it take for your team to dry a job from start to COC? So the basic premise here is that carriers are not going to pay for drying past 3 to 5 days, barring some unusual circumstances. And so any days that you're spent there longer, when you're reducing your labor efficiency, you're increasing your overhead costs, and you're decreasing the client and customer experience. So, and you're probably, if you're doing reconstruction, then you're probably reducing your close ratio as well on the reconstruction side. The longer that water job takes to close out, the less likely that homeowner or property owner is going to be to sign reconstruction. So this is a really important metric. Let's say that you want to look at average drying days, and that is one good metric to look at, but we all know that we have those outliers, right? That we get the job started and then the homeowner's going to be gone for the weekend. They don't want anybody coming in, all that kind of stuff. So maybe things are sitting a little bit longer than they are. So maybe you don't want to look at the outliers, and you want to look at the percent of jobs hitting your target. That is a really powerful tool to say, okay, how do we reduce 1 day of drying time from what our current average is? How do we increase this percentage about 10%? Hopefully you're killing this. Hopefully that 60% isn't even in your range at all. But it doesn't matter wherever you're starting. When you start, that's the metric, and all you're looking at is incremental improvements, and over time you'll be able to make a big difference. So this is something that will really help your labor efficiency. It will help your profitability, and it will help you just have a better, like I said, customer experience. So those are some of the ones that I've really enjoyed using as a manager, and hopefully you find some value in that. If you have any questions about how to measure this, or are struggling with ways to track this and measure this, we would love to talk to you and be able to help you over at Xcelerate. So we don't have a lot of time for this, but so we're just going to touch on this. And if you want more information about each of these other metrics, then please reach out to me or the team at Xcelerate, and we can give you more information on each one of these. But one metric that I find is great is sales trends over time based on referral type. Are you able to identify how much work is coming from the property managers that you've been targeting? How much work is coming from adjusters? How much work is coming from maybe schools or education that you've been focused on? And being able to see how that's improving over time, or if it's falling over time, and maybe you historically had a really strong referral source from adjusters, but that's starting to drop off, then it gives you an ability to track that and figure out why. Are those getting funneled into TPAs? Is that work getting sent to my competitor? Did we screw up on a job that we need to go try to fix? All of those kind of things. So looking at those sales trends over time based on your referral type, and not just by the referral themselves, but by the type. That one's powerful. Another one that I really like is the on-site arrival time. And so how long does it take for your team to arrive on site, and how is this impacting your revenue? And we have found that there is a great correlation between how quickly you arrive and the size of the loss. And you would be like, well, that doesn't really make sense, but it actually does. So if you can improve your on-site arrival time, that will help you improve your profitability. Okay, and then this one was like magic, okay? This was a game changer for me and the company that I was leading. So reconstruction revenue recognized per day by your PM or your super. So how much were they able to run per day based on how quickly that job was moving forward. So that one's a super, super powerful tool. I highly recommend using it. And if you need more information about it, reach out to me because I will be so happy to share. And then another one that we really like is total final invoice time. From the time that you get that COC to getting that final bill done and out the door and invoiced into your accounting system, how long does that take? And there is a huge correlation between how long that takes and the speed at which it gets approved and paid, the amount of times it has to go back and forth for revisions, and obviously your overall AR days. So all of those super, super powerful tools, hopefully you find some benefit for your company. And please come join us at our virtual Xcelerate booth. We'd love to show you the ways that we're innovating for the industry. Again, our focus is how to help contractors be more successful. We know the challenges that you're facing. We understand your business. We understand all of the components, and we're doing really great and innovative things to help you be successful. So come over, come join us. Even if you're not wanting to change job management systems, come and we can help you brainstorm ways that you could be able to track these kind of metrics even through whatever system you're using, or there may be even some manual processes. So we'd like to just help share knowledge where we can. So again, my contact information is on here if you want to shoot me an email, but also come over to the booth and see us. So thank you so much and have a terrific day.